it's a watershed moment. It's a big moment, viewers. It has taken 75 years for an Indian government to defend our dharmic traditions. But for the first time, after Swami Vivekananda's address to the US, in the US rather, to the UN, while addressing a virtual conference organized by the Counter-Terrorism Center, India's ambassador to the United Nations, T.S. Trimurti, has set the record straight. Trimurti said that there are new biases, especially against non-Abrahamic faiths, from the emergence of anti-Hindu, anti-Buddhist and anti-Sikh phobias. India has asked the United Nations to ensure that these phobias are also included in official documentation. The Indian side said that till now, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia and Christianophobia have been documented, or instances have been documented. But the time now has come to expand that definition. Why it has taken 75 years for any government, any Indian government to speak up for our Indic civilization is inexplicable, viewers. Our Indic civilization is not something that we should be not proud of, viewers. And it requires to be defended. I'll tell you why, but first listen to India's ambassador to the United Nations, Mr. Trimurti. Listen to this.
New phobias, hatred or bias against other major religions of the world need to be fully recognized. The emergence of contemporary forms of religious phobia, especially anti-Hindu, anti-Buddhist and anti-Sikh phobias, is a matter of serious concern and needs the attention of the UN and all member states. It is only then can we bring greater balance into our discussion on such topics.
Important, viewers, a very, very important demand of the United Nations. Over hundreds of years, there has been sustained and selective attack by waves of colonizers to paint the Hindu tradition as a primitive one, in need of severe and urgent reform. That is what is said, viewers. Moreover, its adherents, Hindus, were painted as heathen, who were in desperate and dire need of being civilized. As the colonizers spread their footprint across India, their hold over minds and lives, our minds, our lives, deepened. Yes, viewers, indigenous cultures and their adherents were made to feel inadequate. Through a steady dose of prejudice and barely conceived contempt, Hindus were made to renounce their own traditions and beliefs and accept alien traditions in the assumption, viewers, that they were subscribing to some higher ideal, a higher set of values and traditions. In fact, viewers, in the ultimate act of deceit, we were fooled by a westernized Indian elite that has been co-opted in the Western way to fear ourselves on account of our own faith. Just listen to what is said. In the last 70 years, we were told that just like Abrahamic faiths, the Hindu tradition is endemically intolerant. This, even though recent Western scholarship has confirmed that it's not the case. There has been revisionism, viewers, in the West. And certain postmodern and other thinkers who have been involved with the study of decoloniality have come out and said that the Hindu tradition is one of the most inherently peaceful. Now viewers, when these students of decoloniality say that what they encounter in the West is so tolerant, how then can it be that the Hindu tradition has been branded intolerant in the land of its own birth? It makes no sense, viewers. And sadly, the attacks are continuing. Look at some of what is said on your screens by people like Asaduddin Owaisi, Mehbooba Mufti, Shafqat Watali, Majid Memon, Prashant Bhushan, Rahul Gandhi, Atul Anjan. All these people, these are politicians of course, but there are many, many examples of intellectuals too who say this. But viewers, Hinduphobia is real and there are many, many instances, and here are some hard facts that can't be denied, and let me put them out. We have had hate-mongering clerics warn against Hindu genocide. Some have said, and at least one who has been co-opted by the Congress party has said that if Muslims take law into their own hands, Hindus can't hide. We have had an expression of this in Kashmir and in several other parts of the country, viewers. At times where Hindus are in minority in some of our border regions. 9 attacks on Hindu temples in 22 months in Pakistan alone. 20 Hindu homes were set on fire in Bangladesh by miscreants. I'm talking about very recent events, viewers. I'm not going into the past. Hindu Sikh civilians succumb in targeted attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. Sometimes even the heart of Srinagar. Hindu men targeted by Muslim mobs in Andhra Pradesh. That's also happened. Just recently. I'm not going into history, viewers, but prominent Hindu temples were destroyed by Ghazni and other invaders. Aurangzeb destroyed the Kashi Vishwanath temple in 1669. Aurangzeb imposed the jizya tax to suppress Hindus, compel them to convert. The list is long, very long. I want to open this out tonight. I want to speak to people who can put what has happened today in perspective. Viewers, I want to begin with Professor who joins us from the United States, Ms. Operajita. Professor, first put into context what Mr. Trimurti was saying today.
What he was saying is long overdue. That Hinduphobia is an alarming movement and is being fired off on all 16 cylinders against India is something that the world chooses not to take cognizance of. And that is wrong. There are only certain kinds of phobias that have been recognized, but who are the people who recognize this? It is alarming for the world because India has reclaimed its position of ascendancy on the world stage. And forces across the world, there is a plot here. I don't have to articulate it in very explicit terms. There is a plot to destroy India. And that is why there is this great focus on Hinduism, Hindutva, and India being, an intolerant nation, so on and so forth, which is a bunch of hokey. So yes, it is very official, and kudos to Ambassador Trimurti for articulating it at the forum that he did.
Professor, let me ask you, because I again was reading through the reactions to Mr. Trimurti's statement, to Ambassador Trimurti's statement, and they said, where is the Hinduphobia? How can a country with a population of 83, 84, 85% Hindus have to deal with Hinduphobia? How can that be even conceivable? So can you enunciate on this, Professor Operajita?
That's coming from our homegrown Orientalists. That's coming from our homegrown Orientalists. And there are very strong Break India forces whose mandate is to make India feel diffident. Unfortunately for them, India is it's sort of marching ahead in leaps and bounds. You know what, our telecom minister just announced a huge grant to make India leading power in the semiconductors field. And you see everything else that's happening. I also pointed out in an earlier show, one of the things that the Break India forces find sort of unpalatable about India is, look, wherever Indians go, I can speak about my campus. The Indians from India are hands down some of the most brilliant students here. So India and the United States are partners in the knowledge economy. This entire digression, trying to destabilize India, comes from that insecurity. The fact that now India is center stage. President Obama said when he was visiting India in 2010, and I was invited to choreograph the Rashtrapati Bhavan concert for him. He said, India is not, it's not an emerging power anymore. It's 2010, 12 years ago. It is already a major power. And I think the problem with us is because of post-colonial cringing, remember this phrase, because of post-colonial cringing, we've been made to lose our self-esteem. But that is, Indians are regaining that. There is a huge movement within India to try and break India, and especially the majority of Indians are Hindu. So, you can't do anything to India, just go on bashing Hindus, Hindutva. That whole potpourri of absolute lunacy. This is something the world needs to wake up to. We're not a pushover any longer.
Sanjay Jha, why has it taken 75 years for a government to step up and say this to the United Nations, to expand the definition of what it means to be discriminated against and who exactly should be included in that definition? Why couldn't other governments that preceded this one have done the same? Sanjay Jha. Or were we going along with this received, warped knowledge? Ms. Operajita has used certain phrases. You know what they are. Please respond, sir.
Well, while when you started the program, I have not heard of the professor before. Apologies, ma'am. But I did do my search on Twitter when the program began. And one of the people that she is following includes people like Kapil Mishra. And we all know what Kapil Mishra's statements have been in India. By the way, if you go through her entire Twitter line, she is a complete, perfect representation. And I would request all my fellow panelists and everyone watching this program, kindly follow the professor's Twitter line. She is as hardline a Hindutva person as anybody from the RSS and the BJP can be. So let's put it in perspective. She may be a professor with due respects, but she is not neutral. She has got a clear religious inclination. She definitely has a political...
So professors with hard left Marxist inclinations, one second, professors with hard left Marxist inclinations that have made us think poorly of ourselves, I'll bring you in. They're okay. But a professor who happens to follow Kapil Mishra in some other avatar, remember, he's been around. He was in the Aam Aadmi Party with several other avatars. Now, hang on, just a minute. It's very rich coming from you, Sanjay Jha, just a day after Priyanka Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra shared stage and has inducted a cleric who wants to eviscerate Hindus. I mean, that is seriously rich coming from you, sir. Sorry to say, but nonetheless, let Professor Operajita respond to you, because I know you won't go. You're not going to answer the question, but you'll shoot the messenger. So let her respond. You made a very serious charge. You've called her a bigot. You've called her somebody who endorses bigotry. She needs to respond, please. She needs to respond.
Mr. Shivshankar.
Let her respond.
Mr. Shivshankar.
You can't make a personal allegation like this and let it go. Let her respond to you, please.
Mr. Shivshankar, all I will say is sticks and stones.
Go ahead.
Sticks and stones.
Yes,
Sticks
go ahead.
and stones. You know that. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So, you know, I mean, I was appointed by President Sayat at a new Ivy League university 32 years ago. I don't care about, you know, who calls me what. If I did, I wouldn't be where I am. Number one, I don't think I follow Kapil Mishra. And I'm intrigued to see that Mr. Jha stalking me. I don't belong to any political denomination. I'm not a hardliner. I, you know, speak the truth. I have my own perceptions.
Can you get
right?
Can you get the camera to see this? She retweeted Kapil Mishra. I'm mongered. I hate mongered.
You said followed. You said followed. You said followed. Now you're saying she retweeted. Big difference. Big difference. You said she followed. Now you say she retweeted. No. See, now look. Now 1 minute. I don't want to become. No, 1 second. We were having a slightly more. Okay, please. Please, 1 second. We were having a slightly more evolved conversation. If it is going to come down to attacking people... No, 1 second. If you are going to... 1 minute. Everyone's faders down. I need to step in here. Everyone's faders down. Viewers, this is nothing more but a left liberal cancel culture. We're all liberals. You know, we all believe in democracy. Each one of us sit and vote. We all believe in the power of representation and universal franchise. Don't think if you're on the right, you don't believe in the power of democracy. But this cancel culture, which began with Mr. Nehru, when he decided to bring in the First Amendment, is a result of all of this, viewers. In a few days, you'll be reading my piece on this. We've all come with research, and I don't expect intelligent people to start attacking others personally when they don't have an argument to make, because that betrays a sense of deep insecurity. So let's move away from this cancel culture. Sanjay Jha, if you believe you're a liberal, you will listen to the other side. You will take on board what they say and you will respond on merit to what they say. She can spin around and say a lot of things about you, sir, that your party has said about you and discredit you on national TV, but she's not going to do that because she's far too evolved. So let's not stalk someone on Twitter, then confuse the issue by saying, oh, she follows, but then she retweets. Two different things. Very different things. But viewers, we need to have an intelligent argument here. Thank goodness we will be speaking to S. Gurumurthy in a short while, and I've spoken to him one-on-one, so we get completely unfiltered analysis, not with all this scrum of, talking heads. We'll be liberated from that. We'll come to that in just a few moments. But I want to bring in once again Sanjay Jha and try once again with him to explain whether he believes that India's indigenous culture, whether he really thinks was not given its due all these years. Let me ask him once more. Forget about what Professor Operajita has done, not done, said, not said. Simple question to you, Sanjay Jha. Simple.
Okay. Rahul, in simple terms, you just said that you're calling Mr. Gurumurthy on your show. Gurumurthy is an RSS person. And I raise an objection to the fact that the RSS and the BJP are being anointed by you as custodians of Hinduism. I'm a Hindu. and I'm very proud of it. And I want to ask a question.
How do you
Who's
know what
given
we've
the
spoken
RSS
about?
BJP
We haven't talked
certificate?
about Hinduism, sir. No, one second. Again, you're confusing issues.
Who is
Once again, you
for it?
must listen to me.
Who is
We
the
are
RSS
talking about those who speak up for an Indic view. Now, one second. We are talking about people who speak from an Indic view. You describe him as an RSS person. He's not an RSS person. No, one second.
Rahul,
No, 1 minute. This is again a huge attack. Let me personal attack. I don't think Sanjay Jha has a response tonight, an intellectual response. He has another response, which is an underhand response, but not an intellectual response. And I'm disappointed. I'm actually genuinely disappointed.
Yeah, this is what
I am
Sardar
disappointed. I'm very disappointed, sir.
The RSS
Very
activities
disappointed.
are-
Very disappointed. He's the editor of a mainstream publication called Tughlaq. He has a point of view, and why shouldn't he have a point of view? Who are you to decide what point of view is acceptable and what should be tossed out?
But how can the
You're
RSS
nobody.
speak for Hinduism? Who has given
No,
them
but
the
you are
right to
nobody. You are nobody to decide. You are not, sir. You are
I'm
not,
sorry.
in any case,
I'm not fundamental
you
right to
aren't the
question.
last word on, our indigenous civilization. In any case, I don't want to get into a scrap. Please, sir. Please, I don't want to get into this scrap. Please. There are issues to be debated. This is an epochal moment.
Rahul,
We have
you
had
want
an
to know
ambassador
what RSS said
who has
about
made a
the
plea to the United Nations. You might have your personal biases. Keep them out of the debate. Let's talk issues. Okay. Let me open this up again. Sanju Verma, Professor Operajita. First, let me bring in Professor Operajita. She's raising her hand. She needs to make one more point. I'll bring in Sanju Verma. I'll bring in Ishkaran Bhandari, Pai, as well as Abhishek, Sudhir. Yes. Professor Operajita, go ahead.
It's called the weaponization of cancel culture. Just remember that. The weaponization of cancel culture.
We don't need any lectures from people sitting
I
in
need
foreign
to
land.
make my
Okay.
point now.
So you see, Now 1 second. Now viewers, I'll tell you what she means. You see, this entire lot of people laud the bringing down of statues of slave traders, rightly so, in the West, as they would say. Yes, these people need to be pulled down from their pedestals. Viewers, they might have a point. But when an Indic view says that we must also go back into history and change the names of certain roads like Dupleix Road and name it after an Indian, becomes a problem. Then it's an assault on history. Look, viewers, at the double standards. In India, it's okay to valorize the Brit who came here and kicked us in our spleens, viewers, because he knew we had an infection there, endemically, and he could kill us with one kick in our spleen. And he did it. Not once, but several times to several hundred thousands of Indians. That's okay. We must not change that name because, oh my God, that's an assault on history. But they will sit and clap in their US universities when statues of Confederate leaders and other colonizers are brought down. Why, viewers? Here, because they've been told, viewers, that here, these Brits were undertaking a civilizing mission. And there they were, of course, enslaving people. It's idiotic, viewers. It's absolutely idiotic. But it is followed to the letter and to the T. Let me bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, from the BJP
Rahul.
tonight, the perspective.
Yes. Rahul, I will not demean this debate by indulging in personal attacks. I have been criticized for rattling out numbers.
I'm glad.
But I believe that numbers do reveal the truth to a large extent. You know, we've done debates on this, Rahul, at the height of the Afghan crisis last year with the Taliban taking over. The Sikh population in Afghanistan was 5 lakh people as recently as 1970, barely some 50, 60 years odd back, not hundreds of years back. Today, the Sikh population in Afghanistan is just 700 people. At the time of partition, there were 42% Muslims in Karachi, there were 51% Hindus, and the balance 7% was made of Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs, what have you. Today, the Hindu population in Karachi is only 0.86%. What Mr. Trimurti from from the Indian side, the permanent representative at the UN told the United Nations was that you have a culture of peace resolution in the assembly where you have recognized Islamophobia, you have recognized phobias against Judaism and Christianity. Basically, phobias against Abrahamic religion. Why is it that you have not recognized Hinduphobia, not recognized phobias against Buddhists, not recognized phobias against Sikhs? I fail to understand why is it that the Congress is so rattled. Point number one. This is the same Congress, as you said. It has legitimized Tauqir Raza. This is the same Congress which spoke against the left in Kerala and allied with a radical called Abbas Siddiqui in the Bengal elections. This is the same Congress party which speaks about secularism and allied with the FGPI, a front of the fascist CFI for the Karnataka Assembly election. This is the same Congress, born out of political irrelevance. It allied again with a hardcore radical outfit called the Welfare Party of India in Kerala, which incidentally has nothing to do with welfare. This is the same Congress party which till today has not apologized for condemning the 1984 anti-Sikh genocide. This is the same Congress party which has not apologized for the 1990 Kashmir genocide. So for Sanjay Jha to come here and talk about Kapil Mishra and wax eloquent as if he is the beacon of secularism is a bit too rich. And mind you, let me tell you, it is for the first time in 75 years, 10 seconds, Rahul, that under the aegis of Narendra Modi, we are proud to be Hindus. And being a proud Hindu does not make you a fascist. Wearing bhagwa does not make you a fascist. Adorning a tilak does not make you a fascist. In Sanjay Jha's dictionary, if you wear a gold topi, you put on a sherwani, then you are secular. Unfortunately, that is not the secular India that I want to belong to. And Sanjay Jha, Congress is finished. You can come and sit on Times Now and rant as much as you want, but you're reduced to zero, and 2022 will be your better know.
Okay, let me step in. Mr. Ishkaran Bhandari. Mr. Bhandari and Mr. Mohandas Pai. Let me bring in Mr. Mohandas Pai. Mr. Mohandas Pai. 1 second. Let me bring in Mr. Mohandas Pai. Okay, gentlemen. Sanjay Jha, you've had your say. You've attacked everybody. Now, please be patient. Mr. Pai, go ahead. Mr. Pai, go ahead.
Rahul, the world has to respect all religions equally, and there should be no hatred against any religion in any part of the world. The United Nations has said in the resolution that there should be no hatred against Christianity, the Jewish faith, and Islam. Why have they not included major religions like Hinduism, Buddhists, and Sikhs, who make up 2 billion of the 7.8 billion on this planet? And that is what India has asked. India has asked that Hinduism, Buddhism, and Sikhism should be included in the same resolution so that any hate against any religion in the world will not be acceptable anymore. Now, I fail to understand why some people who claim they're also Hindus should object to that. It should have been done long ago, because nobody should abuse any religion in any part of the world. And the citizens of this world, we should not accept any religion being abused. And if anybody uses religion to foster hatred for terrorism, they have to be condemned. And we must also tell their co-religionists they have a responsibility to stand up to them and to point them out and say this is not acceptable for the religion. Now, no religion can point a finger at others. They should point a finger at themselves. Let me end by saying this, giving you this data. There's a book written by Muslim scholars which say throughout human history in the last 2 millennia, the largest number of killings has happened in the name of Christianity. And the data is there. Then in the name of Islam throughout history. All right. Now these Islamophobia, these Abrahamic religions have had anti-Semitism at the core of the religion, but the United Nations has said all 3 Abraham religions should not be subject to any hatred. Now they should include other religions. So throughout the world, all religions shall have equal treatment. That is the stand of India, which we must commend.
So what's the problem? Advocate Sudhir, it's a very secular demand. What is wrong if the government says, please recognize Hinduphobia, Sikh phobia, and the other phobias that are directed against dharmic faiths, like Buddhist phobia, what's wrong with that? So what? I think you should be happy as a Hindu.
Yeah, I am.
So that's it then. Obviously you don't agree with Sanjay Jha.
Can I
Quite
make a
clearly,
small point?
because he's not. He's very,
I would like
very
to
upset.
cede,
Ishkaran
like to
Bhandari.
cede the rest of my time.
All we needed was for Sanjay Jha to say, I am happy.
So I would like to cede the rest of my time to Mr. Jha.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so you're happy with it. I'm glad you're happy with it. See, that's the way it should. The question is, why did it take 75 years? Perhaps
May I
that's
come
the
in for a short
question
bit?
Rahul,
that you will find problematic answering, because there is something called appeasement.
Iskandar.
There is
May
something
I
called
come in for a short bit?
deep dislike. For no, 1 second. For your own traditions. I want to bring in Ishkaran Bhandari. He hasn't had a word in 20 minutes. Ishkaran Bhandari. Yes. Over to you, sir.
Rahul,
Go ahead.
Rahul, usually United Nations Assembly proceedings are meant to put you to sleep. But this, I hope, will awaken the world, because this was long overdue. And the data is very clear. Pakistan had 23% minority population, it's 3.4. Bangladesh had 22, it is 7.8. Afghanistan is left to almost nothing. That data is what is defined as genocide under the Genocide Convention, yet it has never been called as that by the world. Forget that. What happened in Kashmir has not been called as genocide, even though 5 lakh people were displaced. Article 2 of Genocide Convention is crystal clear on the definition of genocide. We don't call it. So it's a two-part problem. What is happening in the world and what is happening in India by certain people I called as Hindus in name only. Because anything which can be used to pejoratively demean Hindus is done. The classical example, the power of demeaning words. The entire world is now talking about that. But the first example that comes across in India is where from 1950 to 1980, economic growth rate under the communists, under the Nehruvian model, was called the Hindu rate of growth. What was the logic of calling a paltry economic rate as a Hindu rate of growth? Incidentally, economy shoots up. When Hindutva shoots up in India, you have Ram Janam movie. That correlates with the best period of economic growth. If you had to join Hinduism with economic growth, then you should do a study on that. So the problem we are facing as a nation is, outside the genocide is not recognized, inside the genocide is not recognized of Kashmir or of pejorative languages. The entire world goes against pejorative languages. Here, if you speak for Hindu, if the good professor speaks, she would be called something. If Mr. Gurumurthy is to speak, he will be called something. If Mr. Pai will speak, he will be called a pejorative word. That is the reality Hindus face, which we faced on your debate also. So I hope this good start by the government of awakening the world to the danger of Hindu genocide and to Hindu demeaning.
Yes, Professor, I'm coming to you
now. Yes.
Okay, Professor Operajita. Professor Operajita. Coming to you, Sanju Verma. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
As a student and a teacher of rhetoric, right? Rhetoric as a genre, as a subject that you study for a year. One of the absolute no-go areas is attacking people personally. This is my first debate. My first appearance on your debate. And in my entire life, I've never encountered anything, for want of a better phrase, more bottom of the barrel. That's all I have to say.
I think.
Well, we apologize to you, Professor. The idea was not to have you on the panel and have you insulted.
It doesn't.
I'm sorry, but there is a persuasion.
No, wait a minute. Let me just 1 minute. 1 minute.
I personally apologize to you on behalf of the panel. No, 1 minute. I personally apologize to you on behalf of Sanjay Jha and the others.
Can I tell you something? It doesn't affect just a minute, Ms. Verma. I just want to tell him one thing. Mr. Shivshankar, just let me tell you something.
Yes.
One thing.
Yes.
I have the enormous blessing. I will not say good fortune because everybody is born with good fortune. I have the enormous blessing of being on a campus where my colleagues are Nobel laureates and where I meet Turing Award winners every day. So what somebody says to me or labels, it's like water off a duck's back. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it.
I understand that.
Rahul seemed to be rather stressing at the moment.
Sanjay Jha, you want to make amends and just say you didn't mean to be personal? You can. Sanjay Jha.
Not at all. I'll tell you why. She made a statement on your show, and this
Not
is,
at
by
all.
the way,
Okay, we'll leave it at that. We just have to.
Sorry.
Yes, if Sanju Verma wants to come in one final time. Yes, Sanju Verma. Yes, please go ahead. 30 seconds. I have Guru Murthy ji waiting for me. Yes.
I think the main problem here is that we've been teaching wrong history to our kids, right from the destruction of Somnath Temple by Mahmud Ghazni, right from the destruction of Kashi Temple by Aurangzeb, right from terming the Mopla genocide as just another farmer uprising, to not, even bothering to condone the direct action day where millions of Hindus were killed or displaced. Till date, we were even celebrating Tipu Sultan was responsible for the Madikeri genocide of Kodavas. I think we need to teach the right history to our future generations. Therein lies the main resolution.
Absolutely. I endorse that. I endorse that. Yes, there has to be balance in our curriculum. And we need to take a holistic approach.